Back when I started this show, I kicked things off with Sonic the Hedgehog 2006. And yeah, we all know the reputation. Glitches, delays, and a plot that made even hardcore fans scratch their heads. But today, we're not talking about Sonic's story. We're talking about Shadow's story. Shadow's arc in Sonic 2006 is darker, heavier, and way more emotionally complex than people give it credit for. He's not just the edgy rival anymore. He's a soldier, a protector, and someone who constantly being tested by the world around him. This isn't about speed. It's about strength and loyalty and what it means to carry the weight of your past while still choosing to fight for the future. So let's dive into the chaos, the combat, and the character development that makes Shadow's story in Sonic 2006 worth revisiting. I'm the optimistic Sonic fan, and I like Shadow's story in the Sonic 2006 video game. Let's rewind the clock. In 2005, Shadow the Hedgehog gave us something no other Sonic game had dared to explore. Moral ambiguity, branching paths, and a character who wasn't just fast, but fractured. Shadow faced his past, his creation, and the truth about who he was. And in the end, he made a choice to let go of the pain, the manipulation, and the legacy others tried to write for him.
Goodbye forever, Shadow the Hedgehog.
That line wasn't just dramatic, it was a declaration. Shadow was done being a weapon, done being a pawn. He chose to define himself, not by what he was made for, but by what he stood for. And then came 2006. Released to mark Sonic's 15th anniversary, Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 was meant to be a grand reboot, a cinematic, high-stakes adventure that would redefine the franchise. But behind the scenes, it was chaos. Rushed development, split teams, and a next-gen ambition that outpaced its polish. The result? A game infamous for bugs, loading screens, and a story that tried to juggle too much. But here's the thing. Beneath all that mess, Shadow's story is solid. It builds directly off his arc from 2005. He's no longer asked who he is. He no longer chases answers. He's a gun agent now, focused, composed, and ready to protect the world, even if it means facing the literal embodiment of darkness. Mephiles the Dark.
Oh, how ironic fate can be. I would never have believed I would be resurrected through your shade.
Shadow's story in Sonic 06 isn't about redemption. It's about resolve. It's about standing firm when the world tries to break you. And that's why, despite the game's flaws, his arc deserves a closer look. So let's dive into the chaos, the combat, and the character development that makes Shadow's story in Sonic 2006 worth revisiting. Shadow's story in Sonic 2006, even though it starts with explosions, it starts with purpose. He's a gun agent now, no longer a weapon, no longer a mystery. After the events of his 2005 solo game, Shadow made a choice to let go of the past and fight for the future. And here, we see that choice in action. Right away, we get a glimpse of his bond with Rouge. When she falls, Shadow doesn't hesitate. He catches her, gently, silently. It's a small moment, but it says everything. These two trust each other, and Shadow, he's not just a soldier. He's someone who protects the people he cares about. Then comes the turning point, the release of Mephiles the Dark. And let me just say, I love this villain. Mephiles isn't loud or goofy. He's sinister, calculated. He has that Billy Drago vibe. Smooth, eerie, and unsettling. When he emerges, he doesn't roar. He whispers. And when he takes Shadow's form, it's not just a visual trick. It's a challenge. He's saying, I am what you could become. Then we get one of the most underrated scenes in the game. Shadow and Rouge discovering they've been sent into a ruined future. The lighting is soft. The music is subdued. There's tension, yes, but it's calming. It's cinematic. Proof that a cutscene doesn't need explosions or shouting to hold your attention. It feels like a scene from a sci-fi drama, and it works.
But
Let us punish this foolish world of humanity.
whatever it is you want to do, you can do it alone.
And Shadow, he doesn't flinch. He doesn't hesitate. He flat out refuses to join Mephiles. That moment is huge. It shows how far he's come since his debut. From a character torn between vengeance and identity to someone who knows exactly who he is. He's not tempted. He's resolved. After returning from the future, Shadow doesn't waste time. He sees Sonic in danger and immediately steps in, delivering one of the cleanest kicks in the entire franchise. That move, it's not just flashy, it's disciplined. It shows that Shadow doesn't fight with chaos powers, he fights with martial arts. And as someone who loves seeing hand-to-hand combat in this series, that kick is a highlight. It looks like a spin back kick, maybe a variation of a capoeira rabo diarrhea or a taekwondo turning kick, depending on how you interpret the animation. Either way, it's controlled, powerful, and aimed with precision. Shadow's not just throwing punches, he's trained. And that adds a whole new layer to his character. But what really stands out is what happens after the fight. Shadow doesn't gloat, he doesn't escalate. As soon as he realizes Silver was misled, he stops. He listens. He thinks. That's the tactical side of Shadow, the soldier who assesses the situation before making his next move. It's a sharp contrast to Sonic's impulsiveness, and it shows that Shadow's strength isn't just physical, it's strategic. And just like that, Shadow goes from defender to investigator. He doesn't just want to win, he wants to understand. That's what makes his arc so compelling. He's not just reacting to the chaos around him, he's trying to solve it. As they explore the devastation, Mephiles tries to twist the knife. He tells Shadow he'll always be feared, always be hated, that he's destined to be alone. And Shadow's response?
If the world chooses to become my enemy, I will fight like I always have.
That line, that's the soul of his arc. It's not about being accepted. It's about doing what's right, even when no one's watching, even when the world turns its back. And then we get the trio, Shadow, Rouge, and Omega. Their bond is subtle but powerful. It's not loud like Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. It's darker, brooding, but still brotherhood. They trust each other, they fight together, and they understand each other in ways no one else does. Omega, the robot who longs to destroy Eggman. Rouge, the spy who sees through the noise. And Shadow, the soldier who carries the weight. Together, they are a team forged in fire. The battles with Mephiles aren't just boss fights. They're ideological clashes. Mephiles wants Shadow to give in, to become the monster the world fears, but Shadow resists. Every time, he doesn't fight out of anger, he fights out of conviction, and that's what makes him a hero. Shadow's story in Sonic 2006 is about resolve, about standing firm when everything around you crumbles. It's about loyalty, identity, and the quiet strength of someone who's been through hell and still chooses to protect. And for all the game's flaws, the bugs, the pacing, the infamous loading screens, Shadow's arc is a highlight. It's cinematic, it's emotional, and it proves that even in chaos, there's clarity. If Sonic's gameplay in Sonic 2006 is all about speed and momentum, then Shadow's is about precision and impact. And honestly, I love that contrast. It fits their personalities perfectly. Sonic's homing attacks is fast, but it can feel a little slippery. You lock onto an enemy, bounce off, and sometimes needs to hit it 2 or 3 times, which can throw off your rhythm or leave you vulnerable. It's flashy, but not always reliable. Shadow, on the other hand, he sticks to his target. When he locks on, he doesn't bounce away. He unleashes a combo of punches and kicks that feel grounded and powerful. It's like he's saying, I'm not here to dance around you, I'm here to end this. And that's exactly the kind of combat style Shadow deserves. There's also a weight to his movement. He's not floaty, he's deliberate. Whether he's gliding across platforms or unleashing chaos powers, his gameplay feels more like a soldier in action than a superhero on a joyride. And that's what makes it satisfying. You're not just reacting, you're controlling the fight. And when it works, it really works. You can clear out clusters of enemies with fluid combos, chaining attacks without losing momentum. It's aggressive, it's clean, and it feels like you're actually making contact, not just bouncing off hitboxes.
You don't want to get caught in a searchlight. You're going to have to use bombs. Here you go.
Shadow's combat in Sonic 2006 isn't perfect. The game's engine has its quirks, but when it clicks, it's one of the most satisfying parts of the experience. It's a style that reflects who he is, focused, relentless, and always in control. If there's one thing Sonic 2006 gets right in Shadow's story, it's the tone. And a huge part of that comes from the music. Not the big vocal tracks. We've covered All Hail Shadow in a previous review. But the in-game score, the ambient tracks, the quiet, somber cutscene music, the stuff that doesn't scream for attention, but earns it.
Maybe more, depending on when this database was last
Take the scene where Shadow and Rouge discover they're in a ruined future.
Well, at least
The music there is soft, almost melancholic.
That means
It doesn't
this
rush.
Mephiles character
It doesn't
has the power
overwhelm.
to control
It sits
time.
with you,
His
and that's what
power
makes it
feels very
powerful.
similar to my
It
own
gives the
chaos
moment
control,
space to breathe,
but
to feel cinematic, reflective, and emotionally grounded. Even in gameplay, the music supports the mood. Crisis City's track is chaotic and tense, matching the apocalyptic setting. The Mephiles boss themes are eerie and dissonant. Not just evil, but unnerving. It's not just about fighting a villain. It's about confronting something wrong, something unnatural, and the music sets that perfectly. The cutscenes with Mephiles are especially well scored. You get low strings, ambient synths, and subtle pulses that bring tension without ever going over the top. It's like the soundtrack is whispering, just like Mephiles himself. And that's restraint. That's what makes it effective. They're not trying to hype you up. They're trying to unsettle you. Even the quieter moments, Shadow walking through a ruined city, standing alone after a fight, are supported by music that feels introspective. It's not heroic. It's not tragic. It's resolute. And that fits Shadow perfectly. He's not here for glory. He's here to finish the mission. The music and aesthetics in Shadow's story don't just decorate the game. They define it. They give weight to the silence, tension to the quiet, and emotion to the stillness.
How should I know?
It's a reminder that sometimes the most powerful moments aren't loud. They're felt. Hey! Who turned out the lights? Here we go again. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Shadow's arc in Sonic 2006, but even in a story that strong, there are a couple of things that just don't sit right. As always, I can't like everything. First off, Gun. Gun just vanished after the first act. We start with Shadow in full agent mode, working missions, coordinating with Rouge, and representing a more grounded tactical side of the Sonic universe. And then, nothing. No follow-up, no command center, no mention of his status or rank. It's like they forgot he was part of an organization. It would have been great to see more of that. Maybe a scene where Shadow reports in or Gun reacts to the chaos unfolding. It's a missed opportunity to reinforce his role as a soldier, not just as a lone fighter. Especially since that's a huge part of his growth since Shadow the Hedgehog. The video game, I mean. And then there's the voice acting hiccup. You know, the one Shadow's VA flubs a line and repeats it mid-scene. It's clearly an editing mistake, and it pulls you right out of the moment. For a game that's trying to be cinematic and serious, that kind of slip-up is hard to ignore. I get it, deadlines, production crunch, and all that, but when you're dealing with a character like Shadow, who thrives on precision and intensity, a flubbed line feels like a scratch in a polished blade. It's small, but it stings. So yeah, Gun deserved more screen time, and the voice acting could have used one more pass. But even with those bumps, Shadow's story still stands tall. Because when the core is strong, the cracks don't break it. They just remind you of how much more it could have been. There, I said it. Now leave me alone. Shadow's story in Sonic 2006 isn't perfect. The game itself is infamous for its flaws. But when you strip away the bugs, the rushed development, and the missed edits, what's left is a character who's grown, who's grounded, who's chosen to fight, not because he's told to, but because he believes in something bigger than himself. He's not chasing identity anymore. He's not seeking revenge. He's standing firm, even when the world turns its back. And that kind of strength, that's what makes him a hero. So whether he's kicking Silver in midair, resisting Mephiles' manipulation, or quietly saving the future one step at a time, Shadow's story deserves to be remembered, not just for what it was, but for what it could have been. I'm the optimistic Sonic fan, and I'll see you next time.